Hey, have you ever been abroad?
Yeah, I've traveled to a few countries. What about you?
Not really. I've only traveled within my own country.
You should definitely consider traveling abroad. There's something so exhilarating about exploring new cultures and meeting people from different backgrounds.
That sounds amazing, but I don't even know where to start.
Well, what's your favorite type of cuisine?
I love trying different types of food. I'm a bit of a foodie.
Then maybe you should consider visiting Italy or France. The food is incredible there.
Italy and France. That sounds like a dream come true.
It can definitely be a bit overwhelming planning a trip like that, but it's worth it in the end. Have you thought about what type of experience you want to have?
Not really. I just want to see new things and have some fun.
Well, there are so many different types of trips you can take. You can do a guided tour, backpack on your own, or even volunteer in a foreign country.
Volunteering sounds interesting. How does that work?
There are plenty of organizations that offer volunteer programs abroad. You can teach English in Asia, work on conservation projects in Africa, or help build houses in South America. It's a great way to immerse yourself in a new culture and give back at the same time.
That sounds really rewarding. I'll have to look into it.
Definitely. And if you need any help planning, I'd be happy to assist you.
That's so kind of you. I'd really appreciate that. I've never traveled alone before, so I'm a bit nervous about the whole thing.
Don't worry, I've traveled solo before, and it can be a great way to gain independence and confidence. Plus, you'll meet so many amazing people along the way.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to meet new people. Do you have any tips for staying safe while traveling?
Absolutely. One thing I always do is research the areas I'll be visiting ahead of time. I make sure to know which areas are safe and which areas to avoid. It's also important to keep an eye on your belongings and not carry too much cash on you.
That's a good point. I've heard some horror stories about tourists getting robbed.
Yeah, it can happen anywhere. But as long as you stay alert and aware of your surroundings, you should be okay. And if you're really concerned, there are plenty of travel accessories you can use to keep your belongings safe, like money belts and anti-theft backpacks.
Thanks for the advice. I'll definitely keep that in mind.
No problem. So, when are you thinking of going on this trip?
I was thinking maybe next summer. That way, I'll have enough time to plan and save up some money.
That's a good plan. And there are some great deals on flights and accommodations if you book early.
I'll definitely have to start looking into that. Thanks again for all your help.
Of course. I'm excited to see where your travels take you.
Me too. I'm already imagining all the different foods I'll get to try and the sights I'll get to see.
Speaking of foods, have you ever tried any foreign foods before?
Not really. I've always been a bit of a picky eater, but I'm open to trying new things.
That's great to hear. Trying new foods is definitely one of the best parts of traveling. I remember when I went to Thailand, I tried a dish called pad thai for the first time, and it was amazing.
That sounds delicious. What other countries have you traveled to?
I've been to a few different countries in Europe, like Italy, France, and Spain. I've also been to Thailand, Vietnam, and Japan in Asia.
Wow, that's amazing. What was your favorite trip?
That's a tough question. They were all so different and unique in their own way. But if I had to choose, I would say my trip to Japan was probably my favorite. The culture is so different there, and the food and scenery were amazing.
That sounds incredible. I've always wanted to visit Japan.
You should definitely add it to your list. There's so much to see and do there, and the people are so friendly and welcoming.
Thanks for the suggestion. I'll definitely have to look into it.
Anytime. And if you need any more travel advice, don't hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to share my experiences.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, speaking of Japan, what was the biggest cultural difference you noticed when you were there?
That's a great question. One thing that really stood out to me was how polite and respectful everyone was. People would bow to each other all the time, and there was a real emphasis on not disturbing others or causing inconvenience.
That's interesting. I've heard that Japan has a very unique culture, and it's very different from Western culture.
Yes, that's definitely true. But I think that's part of what makes it so fascinating. I love experiencing different cultures and learning about their customs and traditions.
Me too. That's why I'm really looking forward to this trip. I want to immerse myself in a new culture and learn as much as I can.
That's a great attitude to have. I think that's really the key to enjoying travel, being open to new experiences and learning from them.
Definitely. So, do you have any other travel tips you'd like to share? I'm trying to soak up as much information as I can.
Sure, I have a few more tips. One thing I always do when I'm traveling is try to learn a few key phrases in the local language. It's a great way to show respect and make connections with locals.
That's a great idea. Do you have any recommendations for learning a new language quickly?
Well, there's no real shortcut to learning a new language, but there are definitely some tools that can help. There are plenty of language learning apps and programs out there that you can use to practice. And if you're really serious about it, you can take a language class or hire a tutor.
That's good to know. I'll definitely have to check out some of those apps.
Another tip I have is to pack light. It can be tempting to bring a lot of stuff with you, but it's really not necessary. The less you bring, the easier it is to move around and the less you have to worry about losing or getting stolen.
That's a good point. I'll have to be mindful of that when I'm packing.
And finally, be flexible. No matter how much you plan, things are bound to go wrong or not go according to plan. The more you can go with the flow and adapt to unexpected situations, the more enjoyable your trip will be.
That's great advice. Thank you so much for sharing all your tips and experiences with me. I'm feeling a lot more confident about planning my trip now.
You're welcome. I'm happy to help in any way I can, and I'm excited to hear about all your adventures when you get back.
I can't wait to share my experiences with you. And speaking of adventures, do you have any crazy travel stories to share?
Oh, I have plenty. One of the craziest experiences I had was when I was traveling through Europe with some friends. We had rented a car and were driving through the countryside in France when we got lost.
That doesn't sound too crazy.
Well, the crazy part was that we ended up on this tiny road that was barely wide enough for the car. And then, out of nowhere, a herd of cows appeared and started walking towards us.
Oh no, what did you do?
We had no choice but to slowly drive through the cows. They were all around us, and we were really afraid we were going to hit one. But miraculously, we made it through without any incidents.
Wow, that's quite an adventure. I'm glad everything turned out okay.
Me too. It's moments like that that really stick with you and make for great stories later on.
Definitely. So, do you have any upcoming travel plans?
Actually, I do. I'm planning a trip to South America later this year. I've never been there before, so I'm really excited to explore and experience a new culture.
That sounds amazing. What countries are you planning to visit?
I'm still finalizing my itinerary, but I'm hoping to visit Peru, Argentina, and Brazil at the very least.
Wow, that's quite a trip. I'm a little envious, to be honest.
You should come with me. The more the merrier.
That's a tempting offer, but I don't know if I can swing it.
Well, if you change your mind, let me know. I'd love to have a travel buddy.
I'll definitely keep that in mind. Thanks for the offer.
Anytime. And if you ever need any more travel tips or advice, don't hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help out a fellow traveler.
Thanks, I appreciate it. You seem like a seasoned traveler.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to do quite a bit of traveling over the years. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I can tell. What's been your favorite place to visit so far?
That's a tough one. Each place has its own unique charm and appeal. But if I had to choose, I'd say my favorite trip was to Japan.
Oh, I've always wanted to visit Japan. What was it like?
It was incredible. The culture is so rich and fascinating, and the people are some of the friendliest and most welcoming I've ever met. The food is also amazing.
I bet. I've heard the sushi in Japan is out of this world.
It definitely is. But there's so much more to Japanese cuisine than just sushi. Ramen, udon, tempura, yakitori. There's something for everyone.
That all sounds delicious. I'll have to add Japan to my travel bucket list.
You definitely should. And if you go, I can give you some recommendations on where to go and what to see.
That would be great, thanks.
No problem. So what about you? What's your dream travel destination?
That's a tough one. There are so many places I want to visit, but I think my top choice would be Australia.
Australia is amazing. I've been there a few times, and it never gets old.
What was your favorite part of Australia?
The beaches, hands down. The sand is so soft and white, and the water is crystal clear. And the Great Barrier Reef is a must-see.
That sounds incredible. I'd love to go scuba diving there.
It's definitely worth it. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can even go cage diving with great white sharks.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I'd be brave enough for that.
Hey, it's not for everyone. But if you ever change your mind, let me know. I'd be happy to go with you.
That's really kind of you, thanks.
No problem. So, when are you planning on taking your trip to Australia?
I haven't decided yet. I'm still saving up for it. But hopefully in the next year or so.
That's a good plan. It's definitely not a cheap trip, but it's worth every penny.
I can imagine. But I'm looking forward to the adventure.
Absolutely. And if you need any advice on saving money for travel, I've got a few tips and tricks up my sleeve.
That would be great. I'm always looking for ways to save money.
Well, first off, I always recommend setting a travel budget and sticking to it. That way, you'll have a better idea of how much you need to save and how long it will take.
That's a good point. I'm not very good at budgeting, but I'll definitely try.
Another thing I do is look for travel deals and discounts. There are always promotions and sales going on, especially during the off-season.
That's a great idea. I'll have to keep an eye out for those.
And lastly, I recommend using credit card rewards and points to pay for travel expenses. That's saved me a lot of money over the years.
I've heard about that, but I don't really know how it works.
It's pretty simple, really. You earn points or miles for every dollar you spend on your credit card, and then you can redeem them for travel expenses like flights, hotels, and rental cars.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I'll have to look into that.
Definitely do. It's a great way to save money on travel. And speaking of credit cards, make sure you get one with no foreign transaction fees for when you travel abroad.
That's a good tip. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for all the advice.
Anytime. I love helping people plan their travels. It's my passion.
You're really good at it. I can tell.
Thank you. I've traveled to so many places over the years, and I've learned a lot along the way.
Where's your favorite place that you've been?
That's a tough question. I've loved so many places for different reasons. But if I had to choose, I'd say Japan.
Really? What did you like about it?
Everything. The food, the culture, the people, the scenery. It's just such a unique and fascinating place.
I've always been interested in Japanese culture. Maybe I'll have to plan a trip there someday.
Definitely do. And if you do, I have a whole list of recommendations for you. From must-see sites to hidden gems.
That's so cool, thanks.
No problem. Traveling is one of the most rewarding experiences in life, and I love helping others make the most of it.
I couldn't agree more. I've always wanted to travel and see more of the world.
Well, there's no time like the present. You've got to start planning and saving up for your dream trip.
You're right. I'm going to start right now. Thanks for the inspiration.
Anytime. And remember, if you need any more help or advice, I'm always here.
That's really kind of you. I'll definitely keep that in mind. So, besides Japan, what other places would you recommend?
Oh, there are so many. If you're into nature, I highly recommend visiting New Zealand. It's a paradise for hikers and nature lovers.
That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to see the natural beauty of New Zealand.
You won't be disappointed. And if you're looking for a mix of culture and history, I'd recommend visiting Europe. There are so many incredible cities and landmarks to see.
I've been to a few cities in Europe, but I'd love to see more. Do you have any favorites?
Definitely. Paris is a must-see for its romantic charm and beautiful architecture. And Barcelona is another favorite of mine for its vibrant culture and delicious food.
I've heard great things about both of those places. I'll have to add them to my travel list.
You should. And if you're looking for something a little more off the beaten path, I'd recommend visiting Vietnam. It's such a beautiful and fascinating country.
I've never thought about going to Vietnam, but now I'm intrigued. What's so great about it?
The food, the people, the culture, the natural beauty. It's just such a unique and special place. And it's also quite affordable compared to other destinations.
That's good to know. I'm definitely going to do some research on Vietnam. Thanks for all the recommendations.
Anytime. I'm always happy to help others plan their dream trips. Traveling has enriched my life in so many ways, and I want others to experience the same joy and wonder.
You're so passionate about travel, and it's infectious. I'm getting more and more excited about planning my next trip.
That's great to hear. It's always a good idea to have something to look forward to, especially in these challenging times. And who knows, maybe your next trip will change your life in unexpected ways.
I hope so. I feel like I've been in a bit of a rut lately, and I think a change of scenery could do wonders for me.
I know what you mean. Travel has a way of shaking things up and helping us see things from a different perspective. And even if your trip doesn't change your life, I'm sure it will be an adventure you'll never forget.
I'm sure you're right. So, do you have any tips for someone who's planning their first big trip?
Absolutely. First of all, do your research. Read guidebooks, blogs, and travel forums to get an idea of what you want to see and do. Then, make a rough itinerary, but don't be too rigid. Leave room for spontaneity and unexpected discoveries.
That's good advice. I tend to be a bit of a planner, but I'll try to be more open to going with the flow.
Trust me, some of the best experiences come from going off the beaten path and doing things on a whim. And another important tip is to pack light. You don't want to be weighed down by a heavy suitcase or backpack.
That's something I definitely need to work on. I always end up overpacking.
It's a common mistake. But the less you pack, the more freedom and flexibility you have. And finally, be open-minded and respectful of other cultures. You'll have a much richer experience if you are willing to embrace new customs and ways of life.
Those are all great tips. I'm feeling more confident already. Thank you so much for all your help.
Anytime. I can't wait to hear all about your travels when you get back.
I'm already thinking about all the amazing food I'm going to try on my trip. Do you have any recommendations for must-try dishes?
Oh, absolutely. Food is one of my favorite things about traveling. Depending on where you're going, there are so many delicious dishes to try. In Thailand, you have to try pad thai and green curry. In Italy, you can't go wrong with pizza, pasta, and gelato. And in Japan, sushi and ramen are must-tries.
That all sounds amazing. I've never been very adventurous with food, but I'm willing to try new things.
That's the spirit. Trying new foods can be a bit intimidating at first, but it's such a fun and delicious way to experience different cultures. And don't worry, there are always familiar options available if you're not quite ready to dive into the local cuisine.
That's good to know. And what about accommodations? Do you have any tips for finding affordable but comfortable places to stay?
Yes, definitely. Accommodations can make or break a trip, so it's important to find something that fits your needs and budget. One tip is to look for off-season deals or last-minute bookings. You can often find great deals on hotels or vacation rentals if you're flexible with your travel dates.
That's a good idea. I'll have to keep that in mind.
Another option is to stay in hostels or guest houses. They are often much cheaper than hotels, and you'll get to meet other travelers from around the world. Just be sure to read reviews and check the amenities before you book.
That sounds like a fun way to meet new people. I'll have to look into it.
Definitely. And one more thing I should mention is that it's always a good idea to invest in travel insurance. It might seem like an unnecessary expense, but it can save you a lot of money and headaches in case of any unexpected events, like lost luggage or a medical emergency.
That's a great point. I'll make sure to look into it. Thanks again for all your help. I feel so much more prepared for my trip now.
My pleasure. I can't wait to hear all about your adventures.
Thanks. I'm getting so excited for it. One thing I'm a little nervous about though is getting lost. I've heard that some places can be pretty confusing to navigate.
I hear you. Navigation can be a challenge, especially if you're in a new and unfamiliar place. But there are a few things you can do to make it easier. First, I recommend getting a good map or downloading a navigation app on your phone. Google Maps is a great option, and it even works offline in some areas.
That's a good idea. I'll definitely download it before I go.
Another tip is to familiarize yourself with the public transportation system in the area. It can be a cost-effective and convenient way to get around. And don't be afraid to ask locals for directions or recommendations. Most people are happy to help out a traveler.
That's reassuring. I've always heard that people are generally pretty friendly and welcoming to travelers.
Absolutely. Traveling can be a great way to connect with people from all over the world. And speaking of connecting, have you thought about how you'll stay in touch with friends and family back home?
I was planning on just using my phone and social media, but I'm not sure how expensive that will be.
It can definitely add up if you're not careful. One option is to get a local SIM card for your phone. That way, you can use local data and avoid international roaming charges. Or if you're going to be in one place for a while, you could look into getting a local phone plan.
Those are great ideas. I hadn't thought about getting a local SIM card.
And finally, I highly recommend unplugging and enjoying the moment. It's easy to get caught up in taking pictures and updating social media, but sometimes it's better to just put down the phone and soak in the experience.
I completely agree. I don't want to spend my whole trip staring at a screen. Thanks for all your advice. You've given me so much to think about.
Of course, I'm happy to help. Traveling can be a bit overwhelming, but with a little preparation and some tips and tricks, it can be an amazing experience.
I completely agree. Speaking of travel, have you been to any other cool places recently?
Actually, I just got back from Japan last month. It was incredible. The food, the culture, the people, everything was amazing.
That sounds incredible. I've always wanted to go to Japan. What was your favorite part of the trip?
That's a tough one. There were so many amazing things. But if I had to choose, I'd say my favorite part was probably the food. It was so different from what I'm used to, but everything was delicious. I tried sushi, ramen, udon, tempura, you name it.
That all sounds so good. I've heard that Japan is known for its incredible food.
Yes, and the people were so friendly and welcoming. Even though there was a bit of a language barrier, everyone was always willing to help and make sure we were having a good time.
That's so great to hear. I've heard that the Japanese are incredibly polite and respectful.
Absolutely. And the sights were incredible too. We went to Tokyo, Kyoto, and Hiroshima, and each city had its own unique charm.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing trip. I'll definitely have to add Japan to my list of travel destinations.
You should. And if you're looking for another travel destination, I'd highly recommend Italy. The food, the culture, the history, it's all incredible.
Italy sounds amazing. What was your favorite part of your trip there?
Again, tough question. But I'd have to say the scenery. The rolling hills of Tuscany, the stunning coastline of the Amalfi Coast, it's all so beautiful.
That sounds incredible. And I've heard that the gelato is amazing in Italy.
Oh, definitely. And the pasta, the pizza, everything is just so delicious.
You're making me hungry just talking about it. I'll definitely have to plan a trip to Italy soon.
You won't regret it. It's a truly magical place.
You know, speaking of Europe, I've always wanted to visit Spain. Have you been there?
Yes, I have actually. I went to Barcelona a few years ago, and it was incredible. The architecture, the food, the beaches, it's all so vibrant and exciting.
That sounds amazing. What was your favorite part of the trip?
Honestly, just wandering around the city was amazing. There's so much to see and do. But I would say my favorite part was visiting La Sagrada Familia, the famous church designed by Gaudi. It's absolutely stunning.
I've seen pictures of it, and it looks incredible. And the food in Spain is supposed to be amazing too, right?
Absolutely. You have to try the paella, it's a rice dish that's famous in Valencia, but you can find it all over the country. And of course, the tapas are amazing too.
That sounds so good. I'm definitely adding Spain to my list of travel destinations.
You should. And if you're looking for a beach vacation, I'd recommend checking out Thailand. The beaches there are some of the most beautiful in the world.
I've heard that too. What was your favorite part of Thailand?
Well, the beaches were obviously amazing. We went to Phuket and Krabi, and both were stunning. But I'd also say the temples were incredible. We visited Wat Phra Kaew in Bangkok, which is known as the Temple of the Emerald Buddha, and it was just breathtaking.
Wow, that sounds like a really interesting mix of activities. I'll definitely have to plan a trip to Thailand at some point.
You won't regret it. The people are so friendly, the food is amazing, and there's just so much to see and do.
You're making me want to plan a trip right now. I've been to a few places in Europe and Asia, but I've never been to South America. Have you been there?
Yes, I actually spent a summer in Brazil a few years ago. It was such an amazing experience.
That sounds incredible. What did you do there?
Well, I spent a lot of time exploring the cities, like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. But my favorite part was probably going to the Amazon rainforest. It was just incredible to see such a diverse ecosystem up close.
That sounds amazing. I've always been fascinated by the Amazon. Did you see any interesting wildlife?
Yes, We saw all kinds of animals, like monkeys, sloths, and even some wild cats. And the plants and trees were just incredible too. I've never seen anything like it.
That's so cool. I'll have to add Brazil to my list of travel destinations.
You definitely should. And if you're interested in South America, you should also consider visiting Peru. Machu Picchu is one of the most famous and beautiful archaeological sites in the world.
Oh, I've heard of that. What's so special about it?
Well, it's an ancient Incan city that was built in the 15th century. It's perched on a mountain ridge, and the views from the top are just breathtaking.
Wow, that sounds incredible. And I've heard the food in Peru is amazing too, right?
Absolutely. You have to try ceviche, which is a dish made with raw fish marinated in lime juice. And the Peruvian national dish, lomo saltado, is also delicious.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Thanks for all the travel recommendations. I'm definitely going to start planning my next trip soon.
That sounds great. Let me know if you need any help planning your trip. I'd be happy to give you some tips.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to start planning and experiencing all these new places.
Of course, traveling is one of the best things in life. You get to see new cultures, try new foods, and make memories that last a lifetime.
I couldn't agree more. I'm so grateful for this conversation and all the travel inspiration you've given me.
Likewise, it's been great chatting with you about travel. I hope you have an amazing trip wherever you decide to go.
Thanks, I will. And who knows, maybe we'll run into each other on the road someday.
That would be awesome. Safe travels, my friend.